Hello everyone, I'm Nick Shepherd. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm talking about these words. Myself and ourselves, yourself and yourselves, himself, herself and itself, and themselves. Oh, and oneself, I forgot that one. No, move over, wrong column, that's better. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, let's get going. We use these words in two main ways. First of all, like this. She's going to hurt herself. That's reflexive. She's doing it to herself. But don't worry if she didn't hurt herself. Then we use it like this. Did you actually speak to the Pope himself? That's emphatic. He's asking, was it really the Pope? And you don't have to use himself. You could just say, did you actually speak to the Pope? And we'll have a quick look at by herself and for herself. Now let's look at reflexive. Reflexive is like a boomerang. When you throw a boomerang, what happens? It comes back to you. And he hit himself. Here's a sad example from literature. Juliet saw that Romeo was dead and she killed herself. And here's a positive example. Billions of years ago, fish began to pull themselves out of the water. Moving on, there are a few verbs which mean the same with or without the reflexive pronoun. Here's an example. Billy should have dressed more carefully this morning. Or, Billy should have dressed himself more carefully this morning. And here are two more verbs which work in the same way. I was washing when the phone rang. Or, I was washing myself when the phone rang. And another one. He was preparing for the interview. Or, he was preparing himself for the interview. And now here are three words which we can use in two different ways, reflexive or not. Enjoy. Susan went to a party and she enjoyed herself. Or, she enjoyed the party. Or, she enjoyed herself at the party. And here's another one, help. Help yourself. Or, can you help Mrs. Jones? And the last one, look after. Look after yourselves. Or, make sure you look after the children. Okay, let's move on and have a look at the emphatic use of these words. I'd prefer you to do the job yourself, says the woman speaking to a capable-looking tradesman with his half-baked assistant. You can put the word in two different places. I'd prefer you yourself to do the job. And here's another example, this time in three different positions. I hate that picture. Oh really? I myself think it's great. Or, I think it's great myself. Or, myself, I think it's great. Is that all? Nearly. One last thing I want to talk about is using by myself and for myself. Here's Craig doing some cooking. He's standing at the stove, he's alone, and he's going to have lunch alone. So here are two phrases we can use. First, Craig is making lunch by himself. When we say by himself, we're saying that he's doing it alone, with nobody to help him. There's also a second phrase we can use. Craig is making lunch for himself. When we say for himself, we mean that Craig has cooked the lunch and Craig will eat the lunch, nobody else. And that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye for now.